Welcome to the WanderLearn podcast. I'm your host, Tapon. This is a short introduction to a short episode featuring Richard DeLong, where we talk more about Eastern Europe. Don't forget to go to patreon.com/ftapon to become a patron and get some cool rewards. Now, enjoy this short episode about Eastern Europe. Let's get on to more positive notes. One thing that you and I have in common besides our fascination with Eastern Europe is backpacking.
Yes.
And you have, here you are in Georgia. Ukraine doesn't have a ton of backpacking. It's the Carpathian Mountains, pretty much it. And I guess Crimea a bit.
And Crimea,
right.
And the Carpathians,
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's not a big thing. Slovakia
is
the Tatras.
Covered in mountains,
right.
The Carpathians.
Right. Where would you suggest a backpacker to go? I would, from my little exposure, you've got ton or not, I would say go to fucking Georgia.
Absolutely, yeah. Georgia's a great place for backpackers, but when we say backpackers, we're using the American meaning of the word, because in
hikers,
Europe, anyone with a backpack is called a backpacker.
No, but America uses the same term. I went backpacking in Southeast Asia, and you hear that term
maybe that's moving over from Europe.
Yeah.
But
anyway, you're talking about like what wilderness backpacking.
Wilderness, Georgia's great for that.
Yeah. Have you done any long distance hikes in Georgia, or you mainly done like a week long trips or less?
So,
because I imagine you can cross, like if you had the time and energy, you could do like a whole month.
Yeah,
there's enough trails.
There are great week long hikes. There are great 5-day hikes. What Georgia is lacking, in my opinion, is like a good month-long hike.
Got it.
And yes, there's the Transcaucasian Trail, which you've probably heard of, which is a wonderful idea. But as opposed to the U.S. or North America in general, when you get up high in the mountains, there are villages, there's cows, there's sheep.
Right. It's not true wilderness in the sense.
That's right. Parts are. Right. But they're like individual valleys.
Right.
And you move over to the next valley. Yeah, there's a valley in Svaneti, for example, where there used to be people living, but it was like 2 generations ago.
Okay.
And so they're just
remnants.
A few ruins covered over in like 5-meter high grass and brush. So for the most part, they're inhabited or thinly inhabited valleys, like the Alps, basically.
That Transcaucasian Trail.
Yes.
How long is it? Do you know roughly? Is it 800?
Something like, no, I think it's 3,000 kilometers or something, 2,000.
No,
yeah, that's right.
Really?
But it has a couple different branches.
Okay.
So the idea is there's one branch going through
Armenia,
Georgia, and it goes to the Armenian border, and then there's a section through Armenia that is completely mapped out, finished, but some sections are covered in thorns and need a lot of work.
Is Armenia got their shit together in not just in hiking, but in general? Are they got their shit as a country? Are they economically better off and just kind of got their shit together, or are they worse than Georgia, or about the same? I'm trying to understand like the Caucasus. You got these 3 countries, or Azerbaijan, where do they stand?
So Armenia has always been it's been slightly behind Georgia.
Okay.
In terms of economic development.
So it's kind of like
liberalization, democracy, and so forth. But it's following the same general trajectory.
Right. So I would say maybe Estonia is to Latvia. So Estonia has always been maybe one step ahead of Latvia. I feel like
something like that. Yeah, I think that'd be appropriate. Mm-hmm. But then there's the third country, Azerbaijan, which seems to be on a completely different path. But as of this year, the Transcaucasian Trail has started building their route through Azerbaijan. So you've got 3 countries, and they're building this network of trails that connect into what's called the Transcaucasian Trail, or TCT. And there are people who have hiked, for example, Armenia through start to finish. Or starting in western Georgia, they've walked all the way down to the border with Iran.
Wow.
Armenia's border with Iran. I know someone who did that. Yeah. And he said certain sections are just, ugh.
Why, ugh? Just road walking? Or
because there's road walking, or just terrible thorns, or maybe there was fog the whole time and tons of shepherd dogs and stuff like that.
Got it.
So I think it needs a few more years to become a bit more well-trodden, better marked. The trail itself needs some work. But I think we're looking at a really good trail after all is said and done.
And that ends this episode of the WanderLearn podcast, where we explore travel, technology, and transformation. If you'd like to see the show notes with links to what we've talked about, go to wanderlearn.com and click on this episode. If you'd like to connect with me, just remember Tapon. That's my first initial and my last name. Tapon is always my social media username. My website is ftapon.com. Do you want to leave me an anonymous voicemail where you can make a comment or ask a question? Then go to speakpipe.com/ftapon. Furthermore, if you'd like to get rewarded for supporting my projects, then go to patreon.com/ftapon. That's where you can pick up some remarkable rewards for as little as $2 a month. Now, 5 quick favors. Number 1, subscribe to the WanderLearn podcast. 2, download it. 3, share it. 4, review it. And 5, sign up for my newsletter at wanderlearn.com. Our theme music was composed by Eric Stratman. This is Francis Tapon, encouraging you to wander and learn.